Okay, we're gonna have a little fun here. Myself and Cam got together and made a tier list of how we think Season 2 is gonna play out. Some of these picks are pretty obvious, some we might get wrong, but I think there's a few sleepers in here. Starting off with the Falcons. Verm had to step away. Matt took over for the time being. He has a tough schedule, but a bad division. Should be an easy win of the division, but it's gonna be a first round exit. Next up is the Ravens run by Jesus. He's all powerful, but he is the definition of mid in Madden. The Bills, run by Snoop. I expect him to have a bad season, but not good enough for a top pick, maybe somewhere in that 4 to 8 range. That means he sucks at sucking. The next two teams are going to be doing together. We have the Bucks, run by Aaron, and the Panthers, run by Washify. Both teams will get 2 free wins versus Jeff, split with each other, lose to Matt, and get a free win versus Vic. Other than that, they may get 1 to 3 more wins. That'll keep them around 6 to 8 wins, which is just mid. Now on to the Bears, the reigning Super Bowl champions, managed by Doom. I think this year they have a really good shot at making it back to the Super Bowl, going for a repeat. Next up is the Bengals, talking about going from first to worst. We just moved the Bears up to the Super Bowl. Bengals is going for that battling for first overall pick. He's not bad at shit talking, but he's really bad at playing Madden. Now 2 teams from the NFC East, Cowboys and Commanders. I was able to take the division last year, but just by a hair. Myself and Suave play back and forth pretty tight. Not sure which one of us is going to win the division, but likely both make the playoffs. But like last year, I'm probably going to be a first round exit, and I wouldn't be surprised if Suave is too. Next up, we have 2 teams that love to rage, CJ and the Titans and Brutus and the Broncos. When they aren't raging, they have a chance to beat anybody. We all know the NFC North is a death division. The problem is they also play the AFC South, which is the other death division this year. I think C-Thor makes it with no problem, and he can always go on a run. And if Z is able to make it, he has a chance to go on a run. Unlikely, but still has that shot. They both have a crazy tough schedule, but ultimately they'll both make the playoffs unless somebody really falls apart. Speaking of death divisions, the AFC South. They say it's really hard to make it back to the playoffs after losing the Super Bowl, but I don't think Cam's going to have an issue. He's at least getting a wildcard spot. Cam took down Flems last season, and has shown you're allowed to play well even if you run the league. Didn't know that was allowed. I have him on the playoff bubble, but if he makes it in, I think he has a good chance to make a run. He's getting moved up. Next from the South is the Colts and BWO. I believe he missed the playoffs last season, but he's getting there this year. However, he'll be with me first round exit. Flems and the Jags. Obviously, he's been a thorn on the side of the league for years, but he's by far the highest decorated player in league history. Cam took him down last year, but it's not happening this year. He's making it to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, run by Snowman. He's not going to win many games, but he's going to win just enough to not have a really good pick. He's going to suck at sucking. And the Saints, run by Jeff, is going to be the same thing. He sucks at sucking. And also the Rams, run by K-Man. All 3 of them really suck at sucking. The Chargers, run by Rev. I don't know what happened to Rev lately. We talk about how Flems is washed, but what happened to Rev? He used to be good. Now, he's a definition of mid. Next up, we have Ant and the Raiders. He has a small chance to take the div away from the Broncos, and if the AFC South has a team fall too far back because of the tough schedule, he could slip into the last wildcard spot. That puts him on the bubble, but I don't think it's likely. The Dolphins by Stitch and the Jets Country Swag. Only one of them will make the playoffs. There's not 2 coming out of this division. They're both going on the bubble, with the Dolphins winning it last year, but the Jets is a new owner. He's new to the league and I'm already hearing he's a dark horse. I just don't know enough about him yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if he takes over the division. Dennis and the Vikings, the last team of the Death Division NFC North. He also has to play the NFC South. He would have to have an incredible season to make it. I think he's going to be the definition of mid this year. Next up is the Patriots. The best way I've heard this team described is the anti-Belichick. A great GM, but terrible in-game coach. This year I think it's going to turn out just like real life. They're going to suck, but not enough for a top 3 pick. They suck at sucking. The Giants, run by Vic, Blinks, Sanction Daddy. He goes by many names, but Winter is not one of them. He will be battling for the first overall pick. He just sucks. Next up is the Eagles. He's good, but won't have enough wins for the playoffs. He could be a spoiler, however, knocking out myself or Washington and helping the Cards make the last wildcard spot. I think he's just going to be mid this year. AFC North. Browns run by Prime, and the Steelers run by Matman. Only one can make the playoffs, and whoever does is going to be right around 500. Whichever one does will be a first round exit, and the other one is on the bubble for the same reason. The Seahawks run by Breezy. He's going to coast to a division title, but only answer your messages occasionally. Once he's in the playoffs though, he can always make a run. The 49ers run by Purely. He's 0-4 right now. He could potentially be thrown the season on purpose, but he also sucks. I'm not sure. He's battling for the first overall pick. And last we have the Cards with Zakaboom. He has a very slim chance at making the playoffs, would have to have a crazy good season and hope the NFC North and the NFC East both have teams that fall apart and he can get the extra wildcard spot. But because of this, I'll say he's on the bubble. Alright, so a few final thoughts. The AFC South can have all 4 players make the playoffs, but they play the other death division in the NFC North. The AFC South can have all 4 players make the playoffs, but it's going to be tough playing the NFC North. The AFC West can have the Broncos and Raiders make it, but the Raiders will need someone from the South to fall behind, and it'll really come down to the Raiders, Colts, and Texans for those last 2 wildcard slots. The AFC North and East can only have a single playoff spot, whoever wins the division. Even then, there'll be an underdog in the first round and out right away. The NFC North will have 3 teams make the playoffs, even with the tougher schedule against the AFC South. The NFC East will likely have the Commanders and the Cowboys make it, toss up on which one wins the division. Late edit. Since creating this video, I've gotten stomped 3 times. I'm not winning the division. I'm on the bubble. The NFC South only real representative is the current head coach, Matt, stepping in for Verm. 1 and done in the playoffs, though. The NFC West is likely only having the 1 spot in the playoffs, unless somehow the Cards can pull it through. When we get to the playoffs, we'll take a look at this and see how it all panned out. Thanks guys for watching another one. Let me know your thoughts in the Discord chat. See you later.